Go. So welcome back. Is Kristen ready?
Yep.
Kia ora, Kristen. Can you hear us? Hi, Kristen. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you. It's great.
Hi.
So we've got Kristen Wilson from Garden to Table Trust. So Kristen, you have 10 minutes to present all together, so that's 7 minutes to share and then 3 minutes for questions. And then a bell will go after 7 minutes that you should hear. And also just a reminder that the meeting's been live streamed on the Masterton District Council YouTube channel. So the floor is all yours, go for it.
Great, thank you. I'll keep this relatively conversational, but I do have a few slides that I'll share just to give you a little bit more insight into the Garden to Table program. So if you just bear with me for one moment and I'll share that. Okay, hopefully you're seeing my screen now, which should say Garden to Table. I'll start out with a little bit about why Masterton needs Garden to Table and the purpose of Garden to Table in general. So really we acknowledge that there has been a loss of knowledge and a loss of skills in both the garden and kitchen with our younger generations, and this is really wanting to bring those very, very essential life skills back and make them accessible to tamariki from all backgrounds. This really has a wide-ranging group of benefits in health, well-being, environmental, and community. The Garden to Table program is based off of our 4PO, and this really gives a good idea of what a session actually looks like. So we have the grow, which is our planning the garden, planting the garden, tending the garden, and deciding what we're growing. Then we have the harvest side, which is actually picking, harvesting the produce that's been grown, the preparing, which is cooking together in the kitchen, or the kitchen sessions, and then sharing, which is where everybody sits down together and actually shares the meal that they've prepared together. So to give you an idea, this is a little bit around the garden session. So this would be facilitated by a garden specialist, ideally. We do have quite a lot of teacher-led programs, particularly in the Masterton district, so we support them whichever way their program runs. So we've got tamariki who are sowing the seeds, they're feeding the soil. There's often an element with this of learning how to compost, working with worm bins, planting the garden. There's a lot of planning that goes into this as well. And then the tending the garden, so the watering the garden, the weeding the garden, and also the waiting, which is a really important element, actually, learning patience and learning that food isn't always fast, not everything happens quickly, and that there is joy and learning to be done and actually waiting. We then have the kitchen sessions. So it's very important in the Garden to Table program that the tamariki have ownership of the program and that they do everything as much as possible themselves. So using real-life tools, we want them to be able to recreate this in a kitchen at home so that these are actual life skills that you don't need a child-sized knife or a certain size bench. So learning how to use the tools that they would have in a kitchen at home. So that includes using knives, chopping boards, measuring cups, weighing. If a recipe calls for a food processor but you don't have that, what can we use instead? Can we use a grater? So we're learning how to adapt as well. And then working together as a team to actually prepare the food for a group. Then we have the coming together, so the sharing side of Garden to Table, and this is an element that I think is so important. And that's actually sitting down together and having a bit of an event of sharing a meal together, sharing kai, and that's something that in the busy lives that we often don't do anymore, and there's so much around that. It's how we share culture, it's how we share about our own lives, it's how we connect. So this is a really, really important aspect of it, and it's really beautiful when you see the entire program come together like that. Now, I'm looking at this realizing there's quite a lot of words on a slide, which is actually a personal pet peeve of mine, so I apologize for that, but I think it is a really lovely quote that one of our schools has put up recently that is about a Garden to Table session in their school. So the syndicate got together and had an end-of-term Garden to Table banquet. They cooked both using pantry staples and using produce from their garden, put together several items. They had the students helping, cooking, growing, harvesting, preparing, and then setting a table set up so they could share together. And I really love where they see here that it was so special to see all of the Tamariki take their place at the table and share kai together. The Garden to Table program is such a highlight for so many, and the joy of this event was evident on all of the smiling faces. So I think it's a really, without being able to actually have you right there at a session, I think that's a really nice way to actually get an idea of what it would look like in practice. So in terms of Garden to Table in Masterton, so Garden to Table is all around the country. Specifically in Masterton, we currently have 5 schools, and that covers a bit over 750 students. It's been going for a few years now. We've had a really, really good uptake and interest in the program there, with a few new school inquiries coming through. In terms of how that works with my role, I'm the regional coordinator. So I provide support, planning, and guidance. And I'll just take this off so I can speak to you directly at the moment. It's nice to see faces. There we go. So in terms of my role as the regional coordinator, I would help with the support, planning, troubleshooting. So, for example, this morning that had a school in Masterton who contacted me, and they're doing an event soon, and had a list of what they have in the garden, and just really need to think about what could they actually put together from this list of food. So coming up with some of our Garden to Table recipes that match with what they have available, both in terms of produce and the location where they're doing this. The support could also look like, I was out at a school in Wairarapa in Masterton a couple of weeks ago, and they had some issues in their compost, a few things growing, they weren't quite sure what they were. So taking some pictures of that, liaising with some of my colleagues who have a lot of knowledge in the garden, and then going back and troubleshooting with that school. So it can look very different depending on the school. We want to meet them where they're at and really work with them with the challenges that they're having, which might be on getting more volunteers. So we work with how can we match you with volunteers? How can we help you grow your pool of volunteers? That could be specific knowledge in the garden or in the kitchen. It could be lesson planning. So there's a lot of different ways that works, and that's my job, is to jump in and to help and connect them with someone who can help if I'm not the expert. And that's a big part of the community building that I think is really important as well, is actually connecting the schools in Masterton with each other. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of sharing that can happen between the two schools. There's also, one school might have a glut of apples and another school might not have any. Being able to share and really build that community together. That can also involve connecting to community groups or connecting to local experts. And what that ties in with as well is the regional hui that we do. So in my region, which is Hutt Valley, Wairarapa, and Wainuiomata, we do at least one regional hui per term. Because anything in the Hutt Valley is admittedly quite a distance for someone in Masterton to travel to, I have committed to doing one in the Wairarapa and one in Hutt Valley at a minimum from next term. So I'll be doing one that will be on Taste Explorers, which is a new resource that we have to help get particularly our younger students, and also can be very supportive to students who might have some sort of neurodivergence in terms of being more adventuresome with food and trying different flavors, different tastes. So I'll be doing a workshop then. But we also do invite all our schools within my region they're welcome to come to the Hutt Valley if they'd like to come to one here. We did have one recently in Upper Hutt, so a little bit of a less travel distance, but there will be a regional hui every term as well that all of our Wairarapa schools would be invited to, and Masterton is quite a central place, would be where we'd be looking to really base that.
Thanks, Kristen. We just stopped just for questions because we're running out of time.
No problem. Okay, that's perfect timing. Great.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Bex, thank you.
Can you just tell me which 5 schools you're at?
Yes, so we have Masterton Primary School, St. Patrick's School, Whareama, Morrisville, and Fernridge. And they're all in different stages of their journey with Garden to Table, so the program will look different in each one of those schools.
you.
Gary?
Kristen, you talk about we are delivering this program. Who's the we? Where are you from?
That's a very good question. So when I say we, I speak of Garden to Table. I personally am based in the Hutt Valley, and I'm a regional coordinator. So we don't run the program in school, so I don't go in and run a session in school on a regular basis. I am available to come in, and I often go in and I visit a session. I do that with schools to see how the sessions run, so I can get an idea of how each school is operating. But I also do that sometimes the school might have a bit of a tricky situation, or maybe their garden or kitchen specialist is away, and that's where I can jump in to run the occasional session. But my job is really to be a support umbrella and a connector over the top. But it's the schools who are running the program and really the star of the show.
Thank you. Right, any more questions? No, thank you, Kristen. So we'll be in touch over the next couple of weeks just to let you know about the outcome for the applications. Thank you for your time and thank you for sharing.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. That's great timing. Is this Patty Simpson from YMCA Central? Right, Patty, just take a second to get yourself ready. So you've got 10 minutes altogether, and it's 7 minutes just to share, and then 3 minutes of questions at the end, and you'll hear a bell going after about 7 minutes. So you'll get heads up, it's question time. And just a reminder that here is, this is being recorded live on the Masterton District Council YouTube channel.
Okay.
All yours.
Thank you. I don't know if I'll quite take the 7 minutes, and I apologise. I apologise too. I've woken up this morning not feeling too great, but didn't want to miss the opportunity to come meet you all and have a conversation today. The Y Central and the YMCA Masterton Centre has been a part of the Wairarapa and Masterton community for the last 60 years, over the last 60 years. Probably quite good to talk about the last 12 months. Some of the usage in our facility has been predominantly sport focused, with a number of programs focusing on tamariki and youth as well. So kia kaha aki is one of our key ones, which is a fundamental skills for preschool children, family and whānau. So the key component there is for caregivers to be active in that fundamental movement skill development, so they can then continue that at home. The other quite successful program we've had over the last 12 months is our Tumotu program, which is our rangatahi program. This has been in partnership with the Pacifica community and a local church. So on a Sunday afternoon when church services are completed, the youth come down the road, join us at the Masterton Centre and connect. There's a real focus on whakawhanaungatanga in terms of that program, and the social connection, kai, recreation, and of course basketball is always a key factor that needs to be factored in there as well. We're looking at it continuing to evolve, especially our youth program. In conversations this morning with Masterton District Council around the Youth Hub, which is really pleasing to hear that that's going ahead. So we would be excited to continue those conversations there and how we can be involved in that and help support that. And then we're to look at how we could broaden the range of youth activities at the Masterton Centre. So grow from the Tumotu program, looking at how we can have more open public sessions where youth can drop in, and hopefully that will complement what will be happening down the road down here at the Youth Hub. So the likes of continuing drop-in basketball, table tennis, so we know there's a strong table tennis desire. So we've got lots of space in our centre to be able to do that. It's just in activating that that we'll be looking at doing. We'll also be looking at the extension of our Kia Kaha Aki program to an after-school FMS offering, so fundamental movement skills. So knowing that we still have a number of families that are time poor, so cannot commit to organised sport, so how can our young tamariki still have that fundamental movement skill development there? In the last few months, our partnership with Kia Kinikina has been a real focus for us. So I've got a number of knowledge and staff that around fundamental movement skills, and working together on that in terms of that offering that we'll be developing over the next 12 months. Yeah, I think I've said quite a bit there, so yeah, I'm not sure if there's any questions people would like to ask in terms of what we're trying to achieve at the Masterton Centre. Kia ora.
Thank you very much for the presentation. How many people do you employ?
At the moment, yeah, we've had a bit of a change of staffing down there at the moment. We probably had one full-time manager, and we had a part-time staff member from there, and then we had a lot of casual or seasonal. So depending on the holiday programs, we'd be looking at a lot of young people, older teenagers that would come in and help us with our holiday program. So at those times it can get up to 10 staff, and that will fluctuate from there. But predominantly it's 2 staff that we would have.
And
Yeah.
during the week, you reach how many children?
Oh, sorry, it's a good question. I'd like to have that number actually. I was just thinking this morning that we have no foot traffic counter on the facility, which is something that's a little bit missing as we're trying to do our refurbishments there. Actually, having a guess that would actually, yeah, there's the number of teams, etc., that would come through that, I'm sorry, I just don't have that number on the top of my head. Yeah.
Or just approximately basketball? How many would be involved in that?
You would have close to 10 players per team. You're probably looking at about 5 games a night, if we looked at that on a Monday and a Wednesday. 20. So you're probably looking at about a couple of hundred just in basketball on those 2 nights that you'd have, and that's just from 3 till 7 at that particular evening. So we've got handball that have now joined us on a Tuesday night. We've got a futsal program that will be starting up on a Friday night. So the numbers are certainly building in terms of the community reach for the facility.
What about your Samoa? Did you say Samoa?
Our Tomotu program, yes. The numbers there, so every Sunday, and again it can fluctuate. It can go down as low as 20 depending on what's happening in terms of what's happening with the families, but regularly we would have up to 40 to 50 young people, and really good engagement from the Pacifica Church in support of that.
Thanks, Billy. Thanks for your time. And so we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks just to let you know the outcome of your
All right.
application.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So welcome Gavin and Murray, speaking on behalf of the Share History Trust. So radio, you guys have got 10 minutes, so 7 minutes to share and then 3 minutes for questions at the end. And you'll hear a bell going off from here at school.
Yep.
Just so you know, just 7 minutes for questions time starts.
No, good as gold. Yep, okay, thank you.
Just a reminder, this is being live streamed as well on the YouTube channel.
Hi, yes, no problems. As everybody's obviously well realises, we apply for this money every year as an annual grant, and we therefore have to justify our existence and the fact that we are achieving what we say we're achieving. For the past 12 months, we have seen a slight increase in visitor numbers at the shed, but our finances are definitely underpinned by merchandise and shop sales. We now feel we have received the national recognition as the National Sheep and Shearing Museum of the country at the Woolshed, and we really don't seem to have any rivals any longer. So we've achieved what we set out to do, and also we have been going for almost 20 years now, which is we're very pleased that we are achieving that milestone. We have 5 groups involved in a major way with the Woolshed, and 2 of those, of course, the Wairarapa Spinners and Weavers, group of getting on for 100 people now involved in that, and of course our home base for Golden Shears. So that's is giving stability to those groups. The other, which we are pleased to carry on with, is to run the Jubilee Fire Engine Museum, which obviously belongs to the council, and we run that 7 days a week right through the year. And we're finding when we look at the visitor book in the Jubilee building, that's well appreciated by the visitors that come through the complex. So I'd just like to put a plug in that your fire engine museum is certainly appreciated by the visitors that come through. We're really carrying on as we have done, and if we pointed out any improvements we can make, we're only too happy to do that and improve where we can. We've had a change just recently in our secretary administrator, and we now have Anna Waddle, who's taken over from Deb Keats, and she's going to give the job a shot in the arm, not from the point of view of changing it in any way, but certainly a fresh person there will certainly give us a shot in the arm. The other side of it, from council point of view, I guess, is the fact that we do provide a home and display space for the town steamroller, and that is also an attraction for the museum, which we appreciate, and it's something that until we built that new wing on, we didn't really realise how much steam power had to do within the Wairarapa. And in fact, it went for about 50 years as one of the major sources of power around the rural area, from about the 1880s through to the 1930s. And it was an important part of the structure and the industrial part of farming. Really, that's about it. We do attract new visitors to the town, and there are a number of people that come through the museum, and when asked why and wherefore, I hear they've heard about elsewhere, and they made a special visit through Masterton so they could visit the museum. So we feel we are doing our bit in that regard. So I'll hand over to Murray, and he's got a few words to say.
Yeah, firstly I'd like to thank Council for all your support for many years. You probably won't see my ugly face again here. I'm about to step down a bit. This old grey hair's just about gone far enough, but I'll still be there. But I'd like to think that with now and Anna and all her liveliness in the museum and that. The other thing is, the lady that just ushered us up to come and say g'day, she said a minute ago her young child went through the museum a week or something ago and thoroughly enjoyed it, and she said she'll recommend it whenever she goes. We do a thing with children all in the schools, and most of the schools come through, and we do try and give them a few information or whatever when they come, so they do enjoy that part of Golden Shears, and so that's always something that we've always been pretty proud of, that the kids in that do come and do see us. And I'd like to say, over many years, I started off in Golden Shears better than 50 years ago. We've always been part of council. We've been part of 3 world cheers here and whatever. Wherever you go in the world, there's no young shearer that doesn't come to you and say, there's one place I want to shear, and that isn't Masterton. And it always makes me pretty proud to be part of the organisation that really has spent so many years doing so much, whether, there's been a world cheer in Norway, Scotland, wherever, and these people come and say to you, you're from Masterton. It's a pretty proud thing to do, so I'm pretty honoured to be part of the organisation that's really done something for this town. I'd like to thank the councils for all the support they've given us for many years. Thank you.
Thanks, Murray. Does anyone have any questions? No? Thank you for your presentation, and thanks for taking the time to do it and prepare it. So we'll let you know in the next couple of weeks the outcome of your application. And again, thank you for your time. Over to you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Right, so we now have Philip Morrison and Trish Stevens from Golden Shears International Shearing Championship Society Incorporated. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
You have just 10 minutes to present, so 7 minutes to present and then 3 minutes for questions at the end if there are any questions, and you'll hear a bell going off after about 7 minutes. And just a reminder that the meeting is being live streamed on the Masterton District Council YouTube. So the floor is all yours. Thank you.
Please start off, could you turn to page 4 of our application. We have a figure that is incorrect there. We'd just like you to correct that if you can. It's the budget for 2025. Ticket sales and entries should read 109,606. This is working on the 2024 returns. So the total at the bottom of the event income and contributions, 229,221. I think if you refer to Murray, who's just been speaking, he seemed to be putting a bit in for us as well, so that sounded quite good, I thought. And Golden Shears is now looking forward to its 64th event coming up next year. This will preclude the World Championships that we have, as Murray even said, in 2026. This will be the 5th time that Golden Shears would hold a World Championship. That in itself would take us from 3 to 4 days and include a marquee over the road, we hope, to hold certain events and perhaps blade shearing and wool pressing, etc. 2024 has proven, once we did not hold events in 2021 and 22, 23 was really quite successful, 24 was even more successful. We had 574 individual entries. A big portion of those entries is coming from young people. We have a very strong entry in our junior and our novice and junior grades, and that's both shearing and wool handling. And this is the future we see with Golden Shears. We have incentives for them to come and compete, to quite a few of them, especially from schools and training institutions. But the more we encourage these youngsters to come to Golden Shears, we see them coming back in the future. They may not all necessarily become shearers, but at least they, I think it was like Murray said, one thing they look forward to is to shear at Golden Shears and get that singlet or t-shirt on their back. That goes all around the world. In a way, we're promoting Masterton and Wairarapa in a big way just with our t-shirts and singlets. And it's not uncommon to see country calendar people wearing these the odd time on their programs. As you see in the document there, we're about a $30,000 shortfall on our budget at this stage, and we received no support from you guys for the 2024 event, but we're looking forward to perhaps getting back to where we had an understanding with the council and paying for the stadium expenses, excluding GST, just to hire it for the 10 or 12 days.
The quote actually came back at 11,300. At the time we put the application in, we hadn't received the quote to hire it for next year, so we estimated that it would be 11,800, but it's come back at 11,300 from Belgravia.
I would suggest in hearing that it's good to see one of our costs not actually going up, which is quite a surprise, to be honest. But one of our major costs is live streaming. Once again, we're promoting Masterton and the Golden Shears. We live stream from go to woe, all the events. And this will even become more of a major factor when we hold the World Champs, that we not only live stream the stadium but over the road in the marquee. But many many of our costs have just skyrocketed in the last 12 months. As you all know, it's happened to everybody, I guess. So we are looking for your support.
Thank you. Now, does anyone have any questions? No. You must have explained things very clearly. So thank you for your application and thank you for your time to present. So we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks just to let you know the outcome of the application. Thank you both.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is it cold in here?
We got on to Right, welcome John, presenting for Fab Lab Masterton Trust. So John, just a heads up that you have 10 minutes altogether, so about 7 minutes to share and then 3 minutes for questions at the end.
Perfect.
Yeah, just to remind, and a bell will go off after about 7 minutes. You should hear from Harriet's corner over there.
Great.
And that the event is being streamed on Masterton District Council Live YouTube channel. So the floor's all yours, John.
Great. I'll start my timer so I know what I'm doing as well.
Give yourself a minute, we're 10 minutes ahead of time.
Well, thank you for allowing us, or me, to talk this morning. Unfortunately, Kirsten has given her apologies. She couldn't make it. But I'll keep it reasonably brief this afternoon so we can get through it. So about 8 years ago, as you probably know, the Fab Lab was formed as a charitable trust to serve the community. And pretty much from day one, our mission was to work with the library or find some way to enable the library to have a makerspace or some sort of digital manufacturing capability. And obviously that was unable to happen with the recent decisions around funding and location around the library project, which is fair to say was a disappointment for us, as it's something we've been working towards for a long time. But a lot of these adverse situations turn into advantages over in hindsight. And I think for us it's been a great opportunity to look at how we want to take the Fab Lab forward as a community organisation. So, excuse me, being forced out of the nest, if you like, is probably possibly a good thing for us. So over the last couple of weeks we've been having some discussions with other organisations that are in a similar space to us. The Repair Cafe movement has been, I guess, building momentum over the last few years and has become more and more of a thing that's top of mind for people in terms of climate change and just general waste reduction. And it turns out a lot of the resources and equipment that we have in the lab is actually quite complementary to a Repair Cafe situation in terms of making things, fixing things, and the whole design process that we work through. So one of our options is really to make the Fab Lab something bigger and better than it used to be. and that's by combining our forces with some of the organisations in Masterton that are looking at doing a repair cafe function as well. So Fab Lab was never a business, if you like. I know there's been the odd rumble of, well, it's time that the Fab Lab paid its way, or it had its seed funding, it's time to do its own thing. But we were always from day one a charitable trust aimed at empowering the community. And so we see the future of the lab as continuing on that path, but possibly in a different way. All the resources and the equipment in the lab belong to the community as far as we're concerned. We've had a lot of support over the years from both council, from the trusts, and from private funders as well. But our ethos has always been that every dollar we take in, every bit of equipment we buy belongs to the community that supports us, and that won't change. So if we're able to, we would love to apply our knowledge, our skills, our equipment and our energy to a new movement, if you like, which is helping repair cafes to take flight. So what we're asking for from council in this hearing is really just a small amount of transitional funding to allow us to explore those models, have the time and the space to find a new venue, and clarify our model and find some funding to support that so that we can keep going with what we're doing. The alternative is that we basically fold up the lab, we dispose of all the equipment, and we wind up the trust, which I think would be a real shame for Masterton, given the value the trust has added over the years. So what we're asking for is just over $12,000, which would give us 6 months of operation essentially, which we think would allow us to be well underway with a new model at a new location with new partners. And that's really all I wanted to say. So,
Just a question, thank you, John. It says here that you haven't gone to anyone else for funding or contributions. Why is that?
well, we have now. I mean, obviously, when this application went in, we just received the news that we weren't getting any more funding.
Yeah.
So we are talking to other organisations now about funding. Yeah, that's why we're asking for this transitional funding to basically keep the lab going while we organise more funding.
Yeah. Cool.
I have a quick. Do you have any? Has there been interest about other places hosting, or is that just what you're looking at the moment?
We are looking at the moment. We've had some discussions with some other people about possibilities. And I mean, the lab's no stranger to moving around. We've been quite nomadic over our life. We've been in a few locations, so we're open to seeing what's out there.
Yeah. Any more questions? No. Thank you, John. So we'll be back to you in the next couple of weeks with an outcome of the application. So thank you for your time.
Right.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you as well.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
So we're just running a bit ahead, everyone. 2 minutes. So just. The next person's are coming in as well. Paul?
We're 1:30.
We're about 12 minutes. Bob and Celia, presenting for the Elevate One Another Community Trust. So you have, just as we went through this morning, 10 minutes to present, so 7 minutes to present and about 3 minutes for questions at the end. And just a reminder that the meeting's being live streamed on the Masterton District Council website, YouTube channel as well. So the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Tim, and kia ora koutou. Thanks for having us today, and thank you for all the work you guys do, firstly, and sitting and listening to this stuff all day. I know it's amazing what our community's doing, but I can imagine it's also quite a long day for you guys, so I'm very impressed that you're running early. That's incredible. I think we might kick off first with we've got a wee video that I think is that ready to go yet? Maybe we'll start with that. Bob's going to have a chat, I'll have a chat, and then we can do questions.
Okay, for it.
Thanks, Cess, and a very good afternoon. Thanks for giving us your time. So that video is great because it tells you one or two things. The first shot on the left gives you a bit of a feel for the crowd, 5,000 people, and that's a very accurate assessment of the numbers there. The other thing it does, those shots show the special nature of the site. There's no question the sports ground is the perfect a venue for this event. When we ran the event in the past, we used to be at the Colin Pugh Sport Ground, but then they put the athletic track around the outside, which removed that as an option. But I think this is a better site. Great access from Columba Road, obviously from around the lake, and yeah, it's perfect. So 5,000, we cope with that, no trouble at all. You saw the food stalls, which were quite a major feature. And a great family event. We, as I said, 5,000. The work we did on assessing who came and where they came from, 64% of ticket sales were for Masterton residents. So approximately 3,200 locals went to that event. And of course, it was accessible to a total community, recognising the price was $2. Be fair to say we had a meeting last night, and we are just assessing the price. The last event we ran was run in, I think, 2009. We had a $5 charge then, and we're just working out whether we go back to that $5, but that's under consideration at the moment. And of course, one of the things that I noted, having been to pretty well every one of them, was we talked about the number of local residents, but a really dominant number of 14, 15 and 16-year-olds. And they all looked great. They were there to enjoy themselves. They all behaved themselves well. A lot of them had their parents with them, but there were quite a few on their own, and they just loved the feedback we've had from them has been amazing. You'll note on the PowerPoint, on the video, the workshop we held the following day, and that was a feature from the previous year. And again, we had big numbers where the bands shared with these young guys, what they've achieved and where they're going and how they might follow them. As I said, I've talked about the ticket price. As there was 60 attended that free workshop the following day. And of course, the benefit to Masterton business, food stalls, tech support, security, marquees hire. It's a community event for our community, and we're quite proud of what we achieved last year. And of course, Stella heads Summer Hummer, and Seth and I are one of the two others there to help her. Seth.
Oh, he's so humble. So I'm sure that everyone here knows about Summer Hummer. Started in 1997 by this guy who was determined to do something for our young people, which meant they didn't have to go to Wellington or Auckland to see a big international act. It's carried on through the years and had a bit of a hiatus, I suppose we could say. We brought it back last year, and that sort of fell out the work that Stella and I were kind of doing around the skate park to try and help get that on track a little bit more, working with Corin. And then Stella rings me up and she goes, "Hey, Bob's got this idea. We'll bring back Summer Hummer." I was like, "Oh, God." Okay. So, you know, like funding is a struggle, to be honest, like everybody that you're probably hearing today in our economic climate. There's the nice to haves and then the must haves. I guess Summer Hummer could be seen as a nice to have. I personally see it as a must have for our young people in our community. I grew up here, and in 1997 I wasn't a young person, but we didn't have anything of this nature. We had to travel, we had to pay accommodation, airfares, or at least the train, petrol, and then the ticket price on top of that. So getting to see international acts in your own backyard is phenomenal. We had an absolute avalanche of positive support following this year, or last year, but particularly this year's Summer Hummer, which was in March. Just so much feedback, like comments on Facebook page, emails, people stopping me in the street, just saying it was incredible and what a place for our young people. And not just young people, you had grandparents there with teenagers and you had little kids there. One of my favourite pictures on there is a little girl having the ice cream, and there's another group of about 5 of them, and they look like they were about 7, and they're all leaning on the speakers, sort of looking dreamy. So, you know, where else would you get to do that? I don't know that this happens anywhere else in New Zealand. I think it's so iconic for Masterton. And so essential that we keep it going. Yes, majority of ticket sales last year were Masterton, from Masterton residents. It's great, the ticketing platform that we're using, we can see where they're coming from, so that shows us it's a real Masterton thing. We had comments and feedback from people overseas who can remember Masterton Summer Hummer back when they lived here, and they were all saying, "Oh, we wish we were there, we wish we could come back." So it's essential that it carries on. Funding is tight. We were really lucky last year with community council support, community grants, and also the generosity of our local business people and individuals who just came to the party, whether it was in-kind sponsorship or sort of financial. Obviously, that's going to be another thing we're going to be relying on heavily this year to get it across the line, because as you probably all understand, nothing comes cheap, and without a lot of hard work. Also the exciting thing for our young people were our young bands who got to be up on stage. Yeah. It's sort of not all about the headline act. We had 15, I think, or maybe more than that, of our young people actually up on the big stage with all the lighting and all the people and singing their little hearts out. And
15.
I think the winner of Wairaupa's Got Talent this year was so inspired by wanting to be up there on that stage that he entered Wairaupa's Got Talent and actually won it. So he will be on the stage at the concert in February. So that's just something really cool. And just that intergenerational, I think, family thing where you can take your kids and see a band, for example, of the nature of Drax, who are international. They've just sold out concerts in London and Amsterdam and all over the world. So to have them playing here, my son's 23, he's in Christchurch now working. He paid, I think, $98 to see Drax last summer, and then he heard it was $2 here, he was like, what? So yeah, take a price, really hoping to keep it at $2. If it ends up at $5, you still got to say that's an incredible value for money with our lovely food and stall holders and our beautiful sense of community. Don't know how long I've talked for, should have a timer on. Anything
Well done,
more?
Sis.
Well,
No, I'm good. I think that's a good summary.
questions?
Yep.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? I have one. Will you be doing the same sort of workshop thing in the same format next year as you did this year?
Yes. Yep, we will. Incredible last year. Thank you, Lakeview School, for the ball. I attended the workshop, and the young people that filed in, and I was just checking off names so we had a record of someone was coming, their faces when they came in and realised that Drax were just sitting there like this, and they got to just sit with them and talk about important stuff like mental health, you know, how to deal with each other when you're in a band when you disagree, you know. And they had they were so cool, these guys. They had some amazing pearls of wisdom for the young people. So definitely going to carry on with that this year. Yeah, obviously it doesn't require a huge amount of funding. Sort of things like the sound and the equipment that the bands need to be able to have their little jam. I think Lakeview might have given us the hall, so it wasn't a lot of cost for that, but the benefit was through the roof. And I've still got young people who I know coming up to me going, oh, I remember that, it was so good last year and I hope it's going to happen again. So we are hoping to, funding permitting, be able to do that again, and our main act permitting, be able to do that again. But that was something that Drax was also really positive about too. Afterwards they were like, that was awesome, we never get to do this. We stand up and play on these big stages. And we never get to sit and actually really look in people's eyes that close and be able to connect with them through music. So I think that was cool that they were able to give us some cool feedback as well of how much they enjoyed the whole experience. Yeah, being down at sports at the Doug's Villa and also at Lakeview, they thought that was cool. So yes.
And just one more. So what was the behaviour of the audience like? Were they...
Oh, outstanding, eh, Bob?
Not an issue. We had the police there, of course, and security. Security's quite light. We use Gavin Rimini, and it's he's got some interesting mates, but they do a pretty good job. But no, there wasn't one issue. We had an issue the year before with a woman with a dog that we had to remove, but outside that, Tim, there was no issues at all.
It was so good.
Apart from Celia giving the mayor a hard time.
Oh, come on. That's an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
So there was probably maybe one issue this year. So it's obviously no alcohol. And look, people were very good. I didn't hear any complaints about that. And if people were drinking, it wasn't an issue. There was one guy who was obviously drunk. I spotted him a mile off, and I talked to the police there. They went and had a word to him, and the people around him got him under control, which is the best way to do it. And that was the end of it. So that was it, really, because I was sort of, thinking, all these people, and what if something goes wrong? But like that. But no, it all worked out fine. That's,
we have a great connection with the police, and we involved them early on, and they attend some of our meetings. They know what's going on, and they're great, actually. Yeah.
And one more, because we've got a bit of time. And the police are supporting this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, they've been great, eh?
Yeah.
Yep, super helpful. We didn't want to have lots of police there, we didn't want to be that sort of event, but you need to get that balance of it being safe and people feeling like if it's needed they are there, but not having the uniforms all standing around.
We work with Jill Flower, and she's got a little team, and they're amazing, actually. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any more questions, anyone? Manawa?
Kia ora.
Very much. Do you have the same band this year?
No, we don't. We have a different band every year, don't we? We are close to locking in our band, but we have a band locked in, but it's not been made public yet. A lot of people said after the last concert, just get Drax again, that was amazing, we'd have him again. And of course we'd have him again in a heartbeat, that was so good.
Yeah.
But nice to, have someone different. And I think looking at bands, also looking at bands who will appeal to families as well, sort of across generations a little bit. I mean, it is for the young people, but the young people.
So no, most of the bands are lined up, including we're working on the school bands, of course, and some of the. Cez talked about the young guy that won the music award.
Warwick's Got Talent.
Yep, Warwick's Got Talent. So.
We're working with Elton Halford. Some of you might know him. He's amazing. He was in my class at Waikato back in the day, and he was an amazing musician then. He works across all the schools and colleges at MIS and all the colleges with their bands, and he's got his finger right on the pulse with who's who in the zoo. So, we'll lock those bands in. There's a bit of competition. There's a bit of, bit of argy-bargy happening about who's going to be there and who's not. That's great. That's what we want. We want them to be really keen to stand up and perform and have the opportunity to be in front of their peers. I don't know where else in the world really you'd get a chance to do that. So.
A few years ago we got Lady Hawk back here to perform at Memorial Park. Do you remember that? And she talked about, she was a local girl, she talked about the inspiration she got from Samahama as a kid, going to those events and eventually become a star. That's what we obviously want to encourage, and and we're seeing some of that. Really great.
Any more questions? Right, thanks, Marvin.
My pleasure.
Thank you
So
very
we'll
much.
be in touch in a couple of weeks for
Yeah.
the result of the application.
Great,
Thank
thanks.
you both.
Enjoy the rest of the day. That's amazing. No, they've got more to go yet. Thank you, guys. See you guys.
Thanks, Jess. Great.
Sorry. Sorry. Just about.
minutes to present, so 7 minutes to share, and then 3 minutes for questions at the end. And just a reminder that the meeting's been live streamed on the Masterton District Council YouTube channel as well.
Great.
So the floor is all yours, mate.
Right. Okay. Tēnā tātou katoa. I don't know that I have to say too much. I think everybody knows about our Kapahaka Festival, and I've got at least one school principal in the room. We've been running it for quite a few years now, but it just gets bigger and better. We've got 24 with 2 days, because we can't fit into one day. That's been like that for a little while now, and that's separate from the South Wairarapa as well, and the North, which we also do annually. And it gives all of our children in the Wairarapa an opportunity to learn some te reo through Kapahaka, to build their confidence and self-esteem, because there's nothing like being able to perform in front of your peers, in front of your whānau, to build your confidence. I don't know, does anyone have any questions you'd like to ask me? It's going to be held at Wairarapa College.
Oh, that was my question. Where was it going to be?
It's at
held?
Wairarapa
Thank
College. Sorry, and yourself.
Hey, how many kids do you reckon participate or will participate over the 2 days?
I haven't actually done the numbers, and I'm standing in for Trudy, who knows everything. But I know when her and I sat down and we were scheduling some of these schools, some of them had more than 100 children in one performance, yeah. And some schools have 3 different levels performing and spread over the 2 days. I wouldn't...
It's in the
it'd be over... Is it?
It's over 1,000. Oh, well,
it would be way over 1,000. I mean, MIS alone is like there,
like we
almost
seen
200,
probably
I
400
think.
kids.
Yeah, so there is, it's definitely over 1,000 children. Yeah, and money-wise, mainly the money that we're asking for is to cover the marquees, which are necessary for changing, and it's like herding sheep. Tim might know a little bit about how much coordination it takes to get kids in, on stage, off stage, changed, all that. So that's why we need the marquees. And also the other part of the budget was and the venue, which is a little bit up there if you look at the cost of it. But the other point is there's not a lot of venues in Wairarapa that can actually take the numbers.
Will be soon. Yeah.
There will be soon? Great, nice to hear that. But so Wairarapa College is probably, at the moment, the best venue in Masterton that we have that can accommodate all the kids. It is nice for kids to be able to come and stay and watch some of the other groups rather than, we could just get them in and then send them back to school, and that would kind of accommodate for some room. But, for instance, year 7 and 8 children probably want to be there to watch some of the college groups if that's a college that they're potentially looking at going to. So there's lots of good reasons why they, could hang around for a little while and watch some of the other groups before them and after them as well. Yeah.
Queenie, is this a competitive event? Do they go from here to somewhere else if they win something? Or?
This is not competitive. We have been questioned about that before, but we felt that if we made it a competition, then that would knock out some of our schools, and we don't want to do that. Doesn't matter how small they are or how large they are, we want them to be able to come and be on the stage and perform to like their peers and their whānau.
Good point.
There is, for primary school, there is a competition that you can go on to, and I believe Masterton Intermediate and the Kura probably have gone on to that. In the college section, there is the secondary school competition, which we share with Wellington, the Hutt end of Wellington. Wairarapa Ki Te Awa Kairangi is that competition, and I think Mākota have done that in the past, and again the Wharekura. But so there is a competition, but we're wanting to keep this as just a festival where everyone can celebrate and enjoy.
Well, that would be one of the strengths of the event then, really, wouldn't it? That it's not competitive, really.
Without the pressure, because believe me, competition adds a whole heap of pressure.
Mark Queenie, excuse me, have you gone to South Wye and Masterton as well for a bit of cash? And district councils? Considering their schools are coming up for it?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
Trudy might know the answer to that.
They've got some grant funding open at the moment too.
Because I'm the Trudy stand-in, I can't answer that question, sorry.
That's all right, no problem.
Out the north is totally separate, so we get funding from the north to help run the north one.
Yeah.
Kia ora, Mark.
Kia ora.
How many people can Wairarapa College accommodate in terms of audience numbers?
That's a good question. I don't know. They have got the upstairs as well. But we tend to keep the upstairs full because it's at Wairarapa College. Those students come in and out all the time, and it's easier and less distracting if we leave the top for Wairarapa College students, and so we do only have the floor. And I actually don't know the answer to that question, how many you can fit in there, but it's certainly, I don't think there's another venue that can cater to those numbers anyway, whatever the numbers are.
Except maybe the rec centre.
Oh, yeah, possibly the rec centre. But with the rec centre, we would have to bring in a stage, which would be more money. We'd have to bring in sound as well, because Wairarapa College has sound and lighting and stage and all those things, which is probably why the amount is a little bit up there. And we would still have to bring in probably the marquees to the stadium. So yes, it's possible, but there would be other added costs. I know when we ran the primary school, when the kura hosted the primary school competition, there was staging and sound and lighting that was up there, because I was involved in helping to organise that as well. So yeah.
Waikato takes the pressure off schools, like we have the biggest school, and there's no necessity to perform and then leave. You can perform and watch, so it's really good in that regard.
Yeah, I don't actually think. Yeah.
Having to leave.
And I remember the stadium, we had to bring in a whole heap of seating as well. Like I know we got 200 chairs from the kura, and we got, because that stadium doesn't actually have enough seating to accommodate the whole floor space. So, yeah.
Any more questions? Thank you, Mark Queenie, and thank you for running the event as well. It's really appreciated.
Thank you.
We'll let you know the outcome of your application in the next couple of weeks.
Cool. Thank you very much. I'm just going to scull my water and leave.
Is she ready to go now? Thank you.
Thank you.
Kia ora.
Can you hear us, Lisa?
Yes, I can, thank you.
Thank you. So we have Lisa Rossiter from the Wairarapa Youth Orchestra. So Lisa, you have 10 minutes, so 7 minutes to share, and then 3 minutes for questions at the end. And the meeting is being recorded, or live streamed, on the Masterton District Council YouTube channel. So the floor is all yours.
Sure, thank you. Kia ora koutou, ko Lisa Rossiter toko ingoa. I'm the chair of the Wairarapa Youth Orchestra. And it's a pleasure to have a few moments to talk with you. I assure you I don't need all of 10 minutes, but just a little bit of background to the Youth Orchestra. We are, as it says on the package, a youth orchestra, so we have tamariki and rangatahi from across the Wairarapa region coming to participate in the Wairarapa Youth Orchestra. We have approximately 50 students in the orchestra at the moment. It's an entirely inclusive community, so we welcome all children who have a love of music, and we aim to foster that music through education. And it's an entirely free opportunity for the children, and a lot of fun. And we rehearse every Monday in the Kuranui school facility, and we put on performances generally as fundraisers throughout the region during the year. And we are, for example, participating in the Masterton Cultural Festival on Saturday, which is a nice opportunity for our students to participate there. So, yeah, look, it costs us about $4,500 a term to run the youth orchestra, and that's because we pay our tutors, our musical tutors, to work alongside our children, and because we need to pay for venue hire and van hire each term. We're run by a group of volunteers, of course, but we actually do like to pay the musical professional folk involved. So this application before you today is a request for support to provide transport for our students to and from rehearsals. We do find that transport is a barrier, so therefore by providing transport in the form of vans that go from all of the different areas in the Wairarapa to Kuranui on Monday afternoons, we can get more, more children participating. So this is a request for van hire for terms 2, 3 and 4. Please, it costs us circa about $240 a term, so I believe the application for you today is for $720 to support the van transport. We do also ask for koha from our families for the van. Some are able to provide that, and they do. We're very grateful for that, but others, that's the cost of transport is a real barrier, so it would be amazing if you were able to support that. We are very active in our fundraising activities. Our students are often putting on fundraisers, and we do seek grants from many different organisations. So we'd like to kind of spread out the ask, but that's what it is today. So I'm very happy to leave it there, Mr. Chair, unless you have questions or I can elaborate further.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No, very succinct and clear. So thank you for your presentation. So we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks to let you know the outcome of your application. Thank you for your time.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, team. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Kia ora, Fiona and Marie, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Sorry, we're in two different locations today. So
Technology's holding up. So you've got 10 minutes to present, so 7 minutes to share and then 3 minutes for questions. And the presentation is being live streamed on the Masterton District Council YouTube channel, and you'll hear a bell after about 7 minutes just to let you know your time's running up for your sharing. So thank you, go for it.
okay, thank you. Cool.
If it's okay, I'm just going to share my screen. Cool. Kia ora koutou. So my name's Mary, and Fiona's here with me, and we're here representing Arthritis New Zealand. Before we start, we just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to apply for funding, and also we just wanted to thank you for this time to talk about our mahi and the services we provide for people with arthritis. So just a brief background on our organization. So Arthritis New Zealand is the only non-profit organization that focuses on helping people with all types of arthritis. Our mission is to enhance every lives of people with arthritis, and we do this through a variety and a diverse range of services we provide. We're also a non-clinical organization, so we don't prescribe, treat, or diagnose, but we offer general health advice and support around lifestyle changes. So these are just some statistics. At the moment, there are around 750,000 New Zealanders with arthritis, and in the former Wairarapa DHB, there are 11,227 people with arthritis, most of which is osteoarthritis with 7,000, followed by gout arthritis, and then rheumatoid arthritis. So this statistics too is taken from the New Zealand Health Statistics 2022, and it's due for review this year. So how do we help people with arthritis? So we have our Arthritis Assist services, we have advocacy and engagement, and we collaborate with healthcare professionals. So Arthritis Assist comprises of a wide range of services to cater to different needs of people, and one of which is our 0800 free 0800 advice line, which will connect people to health coaches. So in a phone call, people are able to get curated and personalized advice. They're able to be directed to volunteers and support groups if they need it. We're also able to send resource packs to them as well. And a resource pack would be just accumulation of different resources that we send to them based on their needs. So for example, someone calls and they said they have rheumatoid arthritis and their wrist is really sore, it's frustrating, and they need help, and it's just interfering with daily life. So we put together a pack that has more information on rheumatoid arthritis in general, fact sheets on nutrition, pain management, and then we also have tools here such as grip mats, which are sort of like little mats, circular mats that you can use to help yourself open jars a bit better, doorknobs, and you also have stress balls. We compile everything and send it to them. And then we also have in-person or online community and workforce education sessions. So these are condition-specific sessions, and they cover everything from symptom management to diagnosis and strategies for living well with these conditions. We also have our website and online resources, and this is a vast amount of information we have about arthritis in general. We have treatments, pain management topics, nutrition, and exercise. And this is really helpful not only for people who are diagnosed, but also it's helpful for those who look after them or for loved ones who have people who have arthritis, because it gives them amount of information, how to reduce pain, how to manage the symptom, but also it gives them a wider understanding of what they're going through. So this is quite a really crucial tool for them. And then we also have Zoom cafes and webinars. Zoom cafes happen monthly, and we have different focus themes each month. So for example, this one in the photo is the promotion we had is exercise and movement support, and is how that would support your arthritis. And Zoom cafes are really important too, because they are good for information, but it's also good to meet other people who are going through the same journey as you. And so people are able to share what they're feeling, learn from others, and see, oh, maybe actually this might work for me, or this might not work. This might work for you. And so it's really good not only for like educational support, but it's also good for their well-being, like their mental and their emotional well-being. And then we have webinars, which are webinars which we have guest speakers, and usually they're specialists who talk about different topics in detail. Like we had one most recent one about hand therapy, so that was really that was well received, and we had around 700 registrations for that one, which shows the importance of just knowing more ways of how to manage conditions. Because for some people it's really tricky, because either the line for the GP is too long, there's no specialist in the area, and the pain is too much and it's frustrating. So these are really helpful for them to manage their symptoms and to know more about it. And then we have in-person and online support groups. We work alongside volunteers who help us coordinate with in-person support groups around the country. And it's helpful for those who want to get out, and just have a little bit of exercise, meet someone for coffee, and it's really helpful for that kind of support. And for online, we are doing online support groups for different types of arthritis, and we help manage it, and also we just help to make sure that everyone's getting a good experience in these groups, but also that it's a safe space for everyone to be in.
Marie, we're just running out of time. So Fiona, do you have anything to share as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about one of the projects that we're working on specifically in the Wairarapa at the moment. So this is we're supporting a group-funded physiotherapy session for people with arthritis. So we collaborate quite a lot with health professionals to support their work in the community. So this is a group of people who have osteoarthritis mostly, and it is about helping them get moving, and movement is really good for managing arthritis. So it's in a group setting, providing support, and our Learning and Development Manager, Tori, is travelling over to the Wairarapa to provide assistance with that physiotherapy group and to develop a relationship with them. So that's one project we've got that's specifically local to the Wairarapa, and is actually a bit of a pilot project for the rest of the country as well.
Thank you, Fiona and Marie. Does anyone have any questions? No questions. So thank you both for taking the time to present and share. So we'll be back to you in the next couple of weeks with the outcome of your application. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Is Lawrence ready? Oh, Jane.
Here we go.
Jane. Oh, and Minty.
Hello.
Hey, we've got, so welcome you guys. Speaking on behalf of, what's this group? Oh, radio, the Wairarapa Film Festival, I beg your pardon. So you have 10 minutes to share, so 7 minutes to share really, and then 3 minutes for questions at the end. And you should hear a bell after about 7 minutes, just giving you the heads up that the question time's coming up. So the floor is all yours for both of you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. So, kia ora koutou. My name's Jane Ross. I'm the director of the Wairarapa Film Festival. And this is Minty Hunter. who manages the website for the festival, was also a participant in the masterclasses this year. So I've brought Minty along to talk about his experiences as being a participant, but also as being on the committee that supports the festival. So Wairarapa Film Festival is a celebration of local film and filmmakers and stories that connect people and places, tangata and whenua. 2025 will mark the 5-year milestone, which is a celebration in itself, as the festival was launched in the middle of a pandemic and has survived difficult economic times, but has still grown in strength and numbers with local and national support and recognition. In 2024, we presented 19 events over 4 days in May this year for what's called the Autumn Program, and we'll present a smaller yet perfectly formed Spring Program in South Wairarapa in October. Looking ahead to 2025, I'm applying today and seeking funding support for the Autumn Program for May 2025. And looking at ways to support the promotion of the film festival locally and again nationally. The program will include, and has always included, rangatahi filmmaking workshops, which have taken place throughout Wairarapa secondary schools since 2022, including students from Makota College, Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Wairarapa, Chanel College, this year for the first time Solway College and Wairarapa College. During the course of a day, the students go through the processes of creating ideas for storytelling, create storyboards, film and edit and present their own short films, which is really quite a remarkable thing to do in a single day. And they've proven to be really popular, and the charitable trust that engages with our local rangatahi also provides ongoing mentorship and encouragement into national filmmaking competitions, which students from local secondary schools have entered into this year. I'm also enormously proud of the cultural connections in Tikana that has supported the Wairarapa Film Festival, including local iwi and local tangata whenua and their stories. This year in particular we had Sir Kim Workman, who was able to present from a television series that he was part of in 1974, but we had active participation and discussion from his hapu, iwi, marae and whānau, as well as national recognition for the significance of the television series that he was a big part of. I'm enormously proud of the national recognition that we got for the film festival this year and ongoing. We presented retrospectives of internationally acclaimed and award-winning films by Vincent Ward. One of them, Mar Olson, which is a documentary about a Greytown lady of note, had its very first cinema screening for the very first time at the Wairarapa Film Festival, having had a full restoration that was done by Natauna Sound and Vision, our National Audio Archive of New Zealand. The partnerships that I've established and maintained with our national screen industry is something that I really want to continue and nurture and treasure. They are really keen to continue to be part of the Wairarapa Film Festival and proactively select content that can be included in programs for the future. This year we also included masterclasses for the very first time, which were presented by local filmmaker Derek Sims, who also shot and directed and edited and co-produced with me a short film about a local photographer. So for the very first time we were able to have content that was made especially to premiere at the Wairarapa Film Festival, and that will continue next year as well. And I'm going to bring Minty in because he attended 2 of the masterclasses this year. One was a cinematography masterclass by Derek Sims, and the other was the importance of longevity and motivation and stamina within the New Zealand film industry that was presented by Vincent Ward. How did you find those experiences?
Yeah, the masterclass were amazing. I might just jump back one tiny bit because as you were talking, it made me remember that I've got a film and TV background originally, so being able to go to a film festival like this each year has been absolutely brilliant. But I've found other little connections along the way. My daughter is now studying music at Massey, and she was able to go and see films where the people who did the soundtrack came and talked. Including Maura Maxwell, so great inspiration for her. The workshops, a couple of young people I worked with, Connor and Eddie, who worked on shooting 1 to 21, a music festival, attended those, and Connor is now in his first year doing film in Wellington. So there's definitely, beyond the masterclasses, I've had fantastic experiences and seen other young people around me. Maybe not other young people, or young people around me rather than other young people, get so much out of it as well. The masterclasses were quite frankly astonishing. I mean, Vincent Ward, the first director to make a film that from New Zealand that made it to the Cannes Film Festival. A long history of astonishing films, and to just be in a room hearing him talk about. Yeah, very much it was. He went around the room to ask each person what they were looking for out of it, and then it was very much about how to survive and thrive in what is a very tough industry. So it was fabulous to hear that. And then Derek Sims, he is just so passionate, and his sense of photography and his experiences as well, both in the US and then here, have been incredible. And I was really stoked to see recently he got a successful booster campaign and is going to be doing a series of he's starting with one, but hoping to do a sort of Twilight in Wairarapa, Twilight Zone in Wairarapa kind of series of short films. So it's lovely to see that kind of influence that the festival has, and the amount of people it brings together. And for myself, it was just a buzz, and it was a buzz to be sitting there talking to the person who was next to me at the masterclass, and then finding out later that she basically, was probably one of the premier editors in New Zealand, and has worked on Academy Award-winning films, all that sort of stuff. So, that was incredible.
And that person is Annie Collins, and she's going to be part of a retrospective of her work that will be presented next May for the autumn program. And she is a Masterton woman, comes from a long line of bakers, Masterton bakers, and she has worked on some pretty incredible films, including Lord of the Rings trilogies as well. So we'll be presenting a retrospective of her work. She will also be presenting masterclasses. We also had seminars that were presented by our national film institutions, where they were able to engage with local people around how to find funding, how to fund your first film, how to fund short films, but also how to make films. So those workshops, seminars and masterclasses will still continue to be part of the program in 2025. And I'm also really proud of the community and free engagement that the festival offers. It's not just films in cinemas. There's film screenings in our local library and also at Aratoi Art Gallery, and they've also been at local community halls in the past as well. So we're always looking at ways to engage with different communities and to always encourage equitable experiences for access and participation. We're sharing these stories. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how the festival grows and how the program comes together for May 2025.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
Thank you, Jane and Vinci. That's the warning from Surrey. So, does anyone have any questions? No, thank you. Oh, Craig, yep.
Well, I see that you're holding this festival at one of the local cinemas. Do you have to pay for that usage, or is that just included in the event tickets?
For the use of cinema, and this is not just in Masterton but in any cinema environment that I've used, there is a venue hire, and at the Regent Cinema it's we share ticket sales, and I do the same thing with Circus Cinema in Martinborough as well. If I use venues like Aratoi, then there is venue hire. So all of that has to come into the budgeting as well. We look at different ways. Like, I'm happy to share ticket sales, and I'm also happy to have sponsorship from different organisations in the Wairarapa that can contribute towards those venue costs as well. We're looking at all kinds of different ways to fund. Yeah.
Right, thank you, Jane and Minty. Thanks for your time and for your presentation. So we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks just to let you know the outcome of your application. So thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yep. Rightio, so now we have Lawrence Tiller from the Wairarapa Youth Charitable Trust. Welcome, Lawrence. So you have 10 minutes to present, and that will be 7 minutes for you to share, and then 3 minutes for questions from us. And hopefully you can hear us, and hopefully we can hear you. Go for it, LT.
Yeah. How you going, team? I can hear you. I probably won't need 7 minutes. I'll probably need about 2. But just to summarise Wairarapa Youth Charitable Trust, most of you will know or have heard of the work that we do within Wairarapa Boxing Academy, with our youth and our fostering our youth to try and be the best they can be. We also, what I want to put across is our new program that we've sort of piloted last year between myself and Fraser Marmon. With the Masterton attendance service, we piloted a program inside 2 schools last year. We helped both of those schools increase their attendance quite considerably. Both of them we got up to one just under 90%, I think it was at 89, and one at 91% roughly. We've since been given funding to help run that program across all schools in the Masterton area. We still do fall a little bit short on funding when it comes to assisting families with food, with uniforms, with bikes, scooters, and other amenities to get to school, which may help remove some barriers. So, yeah. I don't really do well at these things. I'd rather just be the person in the background doing the work. So yeah, I'll leave some questions to you. We'll go from there. Back to you guys.
Right, does anyone have any questions?
Hello, I'll ask you a question. It's Stell. Hi.
Hey, Stella.
Hey, it may have been in your notes. I can't remember. But just give me, if you can, the Masterton people, like membership of Masterton for your academy.
Membership for Masterton, I think about 70% of our memberships here in the gym are based here in Masterton.
Awesome. And the 2 schools you've been working at are Lakeview and MIS, is that correct? You haven't gone for Lakeview? Yeah.
That was last year. We now work inside Douglas Park, St Patrick's School, Chanel College, Markota College, Wairarapa College, MIS Lakeview as well. So we're currently working inside 7 schools and supporting 2 others on a smaller scale. So probably about 8-9 schools we're working with on a regular basis across Masterton only.
Thank you.
Stella?
Of course.
I mean, sorry, Bex, if you I've got Stella in my mind.
Don't watch yourself,
And that's on YouTube. Hey Lawrence, it's Bex here. Can you just clarify something? You know how you've got applying for funding for your academy programs, but then you've been talking about the truancy program. So the funding you're applying for today will be towards what?
Administration for the Wairarapa Youth Charitable Trust. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Gary, did you have a question?
Yeah, Lawrence, I think that it's probably been answered, but Lawrence, your trust is a hell of a lot more than just boxing, isn't it? You go out in the community, you do a lot of community stuff.
So it's a question I get asked a lot, and what are we doing with the boxing? Boxing is probably about 10% of what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably, it takes up about 10%. It's just a door that we use to engage with our youth.
Lawrence, can you just share how you cross over from, say, truancy to boxing, how the boxing might support the truancy program, please?
So I've currently, through the truancy and the attendance program, I've probably worked with close to 30 kids who have either crossed over from the attendance side. We've used that to help support the whānaus, create good, positive environments, and just teach them basic skills around respect, the values of life, really, the values that we've always had inside the gym around respect, resilience, role models, building relationships, having responsibilities and what those responsibilities mean, and just using the gym space and the attendance space to sort of work together. I'll use a case in point, and I'm sure if Tim probably hasn't seen the email, but how it's worked fairly well is I've used the gym van along with one of the schools, i.e. Lakeview, to help pick up 5, 6 and 7 year olds who are struggling, their families are struggling to get into school. And we've used that van to pick them up and get them to school, and these kids were very really at school. We've just had an email today from a family member who has expressed their gratitude for that program and the boxing that has supported their family, and for the first time in this kid's schooling career, due to the pickup and the boxing support that they've had, has been awarded their first ever certificate inside school for achievements and stuff like that. So for me, as I expressed to the family when I emailed back, those are the stories and those are the reasons why I keep doing what I like doing. And I'm really lucky that I have a pretty cool board behind me, some pretty amazing staff, and an even better community that help support do what we do.
Right, Manama?
Kia ora. How many staff do you have?
Hold on, let me name them. 1, 2, just on my own head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of us.
Thank you.
Oh, and 2 volunteers, so 8.
Are there any more questions? No. Thanks, Lawrence. So we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks just to share the outcome for your application. Thank you for your presentation. Thanks for the work you're doing.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, cool.
Even she may be waiting for Katie.
Hi, Casey. Can you hear us?
I can.
And are you waiting on Eve to present with you? Well, if I got the names on the wrong way.
Eve. Sorry, I just put Katie's name. Yeah, I'm Eve and I'm just waiting for Katie. Yeah.
Okay, we'll just give her a minute or two to catch up.
Thank you.
Kia ora, Kerry. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Oh, Katie. Look, I get the names right. Sorry, Eve and Katie.
That's all right, Tom.
And thank you both for connecting with us online as well. So you have 10 minutes to share, and that will be 7 minutes in combination for you to share, and then 3 minutes for questions afterwards. And you should hear a bell after about 7 minutes, and there'll also, just a reminder, this is being live streamed on the Masterton District Council YouTube channel. So the floor is all yours. Go for it.
Kia ora. Thank you for having us, first of all. We're delighted to be here and get the opportunity to chat with you guys, albeit virtually. You feel far away from us here. But I might kick off with Eve and just introduce her. I know some of you guys have met her before, but she is our volunteer leader for our Wairarapa chapter, and in particular today, of course, talking about the focus on how we work in the Masterton community. So I'll hand over to Eve to tell you guys a little bit more about the work that we do in the community.
Cool, thanks Katie. Kia ora everybody, my name's Eve and I am the head bitch or regional coordinator here in Wairarapa for Good Bitches Vaping. So broader context is that the Wairarapa chapter goes from Eketahuna down to Martinborough, but today Katie and I are just going to talk about the work that we do in Masterton. We have 80 volunteers in all of Wairarapa and 45 of those are in Masterton, so over half of our workers here, and 11 of our 15 recipients are Masterton recipients. The kaupapa of Good Bitches Baking is that we spread kindness one treat at a time. So we have a local volunteer committee, which I head up. We pull together a roster of people who bake or deliver baking to organisations that work with people that are having a tough time. We have no judgment about what constitutes having a tough time or how someone got there. We have on our recipients list a whole range of organisations, so things like King Street Artwork, Tua Wānanga Young Parents, the Food Bank, Day Shelter, Refuge, to name just a few. As a chapter, we've existed for 9 years as of October, and it's all entirely voluntary. So in the last, I've got a number here somewhere, in the last 12 months, we've delivered 482 boxes of baking to those 11 recipients in Masterton. And we say that a box has between 10 and 12 pieces in it, so 10 to 12 servings. So I'm no mathematician, but that's quite a lot of little moments of kindness here in Masterton. Our volunteers are right across the community, so we've got a wide range of ages, socioeconomic backgrounds, everything from families to retirees to people like me, work from homers. And actually several of the hauora interest groups through the Whakaoriori Kahui Ako have baked for us, and actually Wairarapa College is doing it next week, which is very exciting. And many of our volunteers are people who've been on the receiving end of the kindness of Good Bitches Baking and now are in a position to give back. So yeah, that's some context of who we are and what we do here in Masterton.
Awesome, and I'll probably just add to what Eve said as well, thinking about those boxes and how we, I guess, translate that into the impact we have, which I know you guys would be keen to know. So I think with those boxes she mentioned, it's around probably 5,800 people that we touch in a year. And as Eve said, everything is voluntary, but we do put a value on each one of those boxes of baking. We estimate that to be around $95.50. How we comprise that is obviously the cost of those ingredients, the fuel to get them there, other consumables, and also volunteer time if we were to have to pay to deliver what we do. So that also delivers what we estimate to be around $46,000 to the local social economy there in Masterton as well. The other thing that I hope you'll be able to see the connection with what Eve's been talking about, that when we did the application to you guys, felt most strongly that we connected with your wellbeing goal of creating positive, strong, inclusive communities where people can get equitable opportunities. And I think we do that on both sides of our delivery model. One is we try and offer very flexible opportunities for volunteers to find a way to give back on their terms. As Eve said, she's got a range of different volunteers in her chapter, but whether that's, people that feel a little bit isolated in their community and they want to give back, or whether that's someone that works in a full-time job and is running a family, it's a little way that they can contribute. So that's sort of where we're at. In terms of the demand for our services, I don't suppose this is a surprise with other organisations that you might be talking to, but we have seen a demand in increase for our services. Nationally, we've increased our recipient base around 37% this year, and that's true in terms of the increase in your region as well. And I guess the other thing is, whilst our model's simple, we provide the baking, there's a range of recipients that Eve spoke to you about. Those guys really use what we provide in the way that is best, that best suits the work that they do. So, for example, with Women's Refuge, we hear a lot that often it's that little plate of homemade baking that often makes mum stay a little bit longer and have a chat with the people working at Refuge to help her access the support she needs while the kids are there and they're sort of entertained and happy. You know, in other organisations, it's around maybe a support group where you can be there to talk about some really hard things, and it's a good icebreaker, along with our name as well as the love that's in those boxes as well. So plans for the future are to keep growing and to keep servicing the community where we can support that growing need. And yeah, that's really, I guess, a snapshot. In terms of if we were successful with securing a grant from you guys, as we illustrated in our application, we use the funds to support the ongoing costs of running the chapter. And whilst we are a national organisation, we're very particular in making sure that we pro-rata those costs to align with what we're actually outputting in the Masterton region, whether that's boxes and flyers or sort of some of the administrative tools or program wages that we need to deliver the program. So yeah, that's kind of us in a snapshot what we're about and what we're doing. So I guess if you've got any questions for us, please fire them away.
Right, thanks, Eve and Katie. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Craig.
Eve, it's Craig here. Approximately how many volunteers do you utilise in Masterton to help you run this program?
So the committee is, one of us is Woodside. So there's a committee of 5, 3/5 of us live here. But as I said, in terms of running it, there's 45 volunteers in Masterton, and we wouldn't be able to do as much as we could do here in Masterton without each of those 45. So I think out of that, probably about 35 of them pure bakers, and then 5 pure drivers, and then the rest do baking and driving.
Thank you. Any more? Yes, Gary?
Eve, Gary here, so you operate from home basically, you don't have an office space?
No, so everybody bakes in their home kitchen. We're covered under the Good Samaritan's clause of the Health and Safety Act to enable us to do that. And then, so I do quite a bit of driving because I've got a very forgiving employer. And so on a Monday morning, I'll text all the people that have done baking that I'm picking up from. I'll go pick it up and then I drop it off to whoever my recipients are that day. So because I live at the south end of town, I tend to do Reek, Puawananga, and then sometimes the food bank.
Thank you.
So that's how we just sort of work out our own little routes. And because most of us are, well, you all know what Masterton's like, but we're such a little community that we all tend to know each other anyway, and we've got our little routes that we like to go to do when we do our deliveries anyway.
Thank you. Marama?
Hi Eve, it's Marama here.
Hello.
I understand you head a chapter, so does your chapter just cover Masterton, or are you in charge of other people?
It's all of Wairarapa, so it's Ikarahuna down to Martinborough, but over 50% of that work, and actually I think 3/4 of our recipients are specifically Masterton.
And to that point, Marama, we only included the relevant stats and costs associated with running the Masterton component of that whole chapter in terms of this application.
We actually run South Wairarapa quite separately just because we wouldn't want people driving all the way down to Greytown from Masterton, so we do sort of operate it as sub-chapters within it, so it's easy to do that math.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Right, thank you, Eve, and thank you, Katie. Thanks for sharing your presentation. So we'll be in touch in the next couple of weeks just to let you know the outcome of your application. Thank you for your time.
Lovely.
Thank you both for the work that you do. Thanks.
Thank you very much. See ya, bye.
Dame Kerry Prendergast and Corinne Barnard online.
Thank you. Right, kia ora koutou. So we've got Dame Kerry Prendergast and Corinne Barnard presenting for the Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand Symphony Orchestra. So you have 10 minutes to share. Oh, can you hear me, both of you?
Perfectly, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And so 7 minutes to present, and then there'll be 3 minutes for questions at the end. So the floor is all yours.
Thank you, well, Kira, and good afternoon. I really appreciate the opportunity to make a submission. I'm here representing both Victoria University and the NZSO, and I'm supported by Corinne Barnard from the University Development Office. So I am confident you will have heard a little of what we're doing. We're here supporting a national music centre, which will be based in Wellington, but will have clear benefits across the region. So it's a collaboration between the Victoria University, between the NZSO and Wellington City Council. So the reality is what we're looking at is a shared vision, and this vision will create a national music centre, which is for music and arts for everyone. It involves a refurbishment and fit out for the Wellington Town Hall that will create education, rehearsal and teaching spaces for the NZSO and the National School of Music. And just as importantly, and not well reported, is it will be the only sounding scoring stage in the Southern Hemisphere. So in the past, in the days of The Hobbit, Sir Peter Jackson took his films to England, to Pinewood Studios to score them. Now those facilities will be in the basement of the Wellington Town Hall, so you'll have a internationally regarded NZSO playing the music, and it will be scored with phenomenal state-of-the-art audio equipment in the basement. So this all came about in 2014 when those three parties got together. You'll all be aware the town hall needed seismic strengthening. I won't go through the detail of that, but the reality is at that time the cost was going to be about 40 million, and it went to 70, and it went to 200, and it's now plus 300. But at that stage, the council decided they needed blue chip tenants to help pay the debt servicing. So they worked with the NZSO and the School of Music at the university to be those blue chip tenants. It's a collaboration, and like any collaborations, you don't put one and one, you end up with two. You put one and one and you get a multiplier of the two. So it'll be a national centre of excellence for performance, scholarship and education, as well as playing, and it'll rival other places in the world that you see in New York and Berlin and London. So you're saying to me, I can hear you're thinking, so there she goes again, Kerry, what's in it for us? There are clearly regional benefits, and I'm just going to list these down, and I'll leave time, as you've suggested, for questioning. There's the cultural enrichment, so that means that doesn't matter whether you live in Kapiti or Poro or Upper Hutt or Wairarapa, you will have the opportunity to engage with diverse musical genres, performances and exhibitions and promote cultural enrichment. Because it'll be a national and arguably Australasian centre, it'll create jobs and attract visitors from across the country and potentially internationally to help grow employment in this region. It'll be an opportunity, of course, for talent development and education. It'll be an opportunity to collaborate and network, again, as I said, the NZSO and the School of Music working together, but every other arts institution in the region, so a hub for musicians, industry professionals, enthusiasts for fostering collaboration, and it will enhance our reputation, our regional reputation as a centre for creativity and cultural diversity. My involvement in this, I was asked to lead the fundraising. I started that 7 years ago. The number was 30 million. I've actually succeeded beyond that in terms of commitments, and some in the bank, some in the pipeline. One of the numbers that are still to be completely signed off is the 500k I assumed from the region. Now, at the time, the mayors all said to me, this is a long time ago, Kerry, we're up for it, we'll pay the equivalent of $1 per head. Now is coming round and it's the collection time. So the amount we're asking Masterton ratepayers for is about $26,700. I've got the exact number here, $26,678.93. I don't need the money in the bank today. You all know the town hall's not due to open for a couple of years. What I would like to think from your committee, if you're supportive, you might commit that amount over 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. Just so you know, Wellington City's committed, Kapiti has, Pororua has, pretty sure Upper Hutt has said orally, not in writing yet. So the region is coming together, and I guess I'm asking you, and I know times are tough. I know I'm leading the Three Waters. There is a lot being put on you, but the world doesn't survive on base infrastructure alone. We need jobs in this region, and jobs that support creativity, arts and collaboration and education are good jobs for this region going forward. So I haven't looked at my watch, Mr. Chairman. I'm hoping that's about 7 minutes, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Corinne, do you have anything to share as well? Or is it up to living up to date, Kerry? Right, does anyone have any questions?
She's making sure I don't say anything wrong.
You've passed, I think. Has anyone got any questions? No? So thank you both for your presentation. So we'll be in touch in a couple of weeks, within the next 2 weeks, just to share the outcome of your application. So again, thank you both, and thank you for sharing.
We really appreciate the opportunity to be heard, and please don't hesitate. Your staff know how to get in touch with me. If there's anything I can do or Corinne can do, please get in touch. Thank you very much. Appreciate
Thanks
it.
for your time. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Good quote though. The world doesn't run on base infrastructure alone.
I'll use that at some stage.
I'm going to use it. I'll use it.
Hey Rob, you in for the Maori King Law or not?
So,
You giving
we'll
us a
have to-
tippy in for the Maori King Law?
Gary, your worship. So we'll adjourn now and we'll come back after afternoon tea at 3:30. Thanks everyone.
Oh, I thought it was on.
We didn't take it up the last time.